my question is, are you currently looking at designation for companies like BlackRock, $9 trillion companies like this? Is BlackRock currently designated so that it receives that increased oversight?
It isn't designated.
How do you analyze what the risk is if you're not actually doing the investigation through FSOC? BlackRock is the world's largest asset management firm, overseeing nearly $9 trillion in assets. To put that in perspective, BlackRock manages more assets than the entire GDP of Japan or Germany or Great Britain or any other nation in the world except the United States and China. Does potentially a $9 trillion investment company pose some risk to the American economy if it should fail?
This is one of the first instances of a Democratic member of Congress pushing the Biden administration to be more aggressive on financial regulation. And of course, it's coming from Elizabeth Warren. My name is Alyssa Bernardino. Thanks for being here. If you're somehow unfamiliar with Senator Warren and her history protecting consumers, here she is on 2 separate occasions taking on Wells Fargo executives.
You enabled this fake account scam, you got rich off it, and then you tried to cover it up. At best, you were incompetent. At worst, you were complicit. And either way, you should be fired. You returned 1 nickel of the money you earned while this scam was going on.
And the board will do...
I will take that as a no then. So you haven't resigned. You haven't returned a single nickel of your personal earnings. You haven't fired a single senior executive. Instead, evidently, your definition of accountable is to push the blame to your low-level employees who don't have the money for a fancy PR firm to defend themselves. It's gutless leadership. You should resign. You should give back the money that you took while this scam was going on, and you should be criminally investigated by both the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission.
In the wake of the 2008 financial crash, the FSOC, which Secretary Yellen heads, deemed banks too big to fail if their assets exceeded $50 billion. BlackRock oversees assets 180 times that, so why wouldn't you regulate that kind of unfettered capitalism? Several BlackRock alumni have accepted or are in line for top jobs in the Biden administration, including Wally Adeyemo, a former senior advisor at the investment manager who Biden himself picked to be Deputy Treasury Secretary. Vice President Kamala Harris selected Mike Pyle, former chief investment strategist, to be her top economic advisor. Meanwhile, there's Brian Deese, former global head of sustainable investing at the firm, who's now leading the President's National Economic Council. The revolving door between corporate executives and the White House doesn't help working people, especially if that means failing to regulate the very institutions they're in positions to oversee. Unsurprisingly, Bernie agrees.
These financial institutions are simply too big. We have got to break them up. If an institution is too big to fail, it's too big to exist. Let's break it up.
We have got to keep this kind of momentum going if we want the Biden administration and their corporate executives to make any concessions. Elizabeth Warren, keep it coming. Thanks for watching.